The day I walked out of prison, the sky looked different, not brighter, not kinder, just unfamiliar. Like the world had learned how to live without me. I stood outside those iron gates with a small gray bag in my hand and 9 years of stolen life sitting heavily on my shoulders. 9 birthdays, 9 winters, 9 years spent paying for a crime I didn't commit, and the man responsible for all of it? He was still out there, free, successful, smiling for cameras. His name was Daniel Brooks, my business partner. And once upon a time, he was the person I trusted more than anyone else in this world. Before prison, my life had been beautiful in the simplest way. I owned a small interior design company in Chicago with Daniel. We built it together from nothing. Late nights, cheap coffee, and dreams bigger than our bank accounts. I handled the creative side. Daniel handled finances and clients. At least, that's what I believed. He used to tell me, "Sophia, one day we'll laugh about how hard this all was." Back then, I believed every word he said. But what I didn't know that day was that Daniel had already been hiding secrets behind my back. The arrest happened on a rainy Thursday morning. Federal agents stormed into our office while I was reviewing fabric samples. Employees screamed. Papers flew everywhere. I remember freezing when one of the agents looked directly at me and said, "Sophia Bennett, you're under arrest for fraud and embezzlement." I laughed at first. I actually laughed, because it sounded impossible, until I saw Daniel standing in the corner. Silent, not shocked, not confused. Silent. That was the moment something inside me cracked. During the investigation, millions of dollars missing from client accounts were traced directly to documents carrying my signature. Offshore transfers, fake invoices, hidden accounts. Every piece of evidence pointed to me. And Daniel? He testified against me. I'll never forget sitting in that courtroom while he looked me in the eyes and said softly, "I trusted her too. That sentence destroyed me more than the prison sentence itself. 9 years. 9 years for crimes he committed. My parents died while I was incarcerated. Friends disappeared. My fiancé left after the 2nd year. The world moved on while I learned how to survive behind concrete walls. But prison changes you. At first, it breaks you. Then, it teaches you how to rebuild from nothing. And for 9 long years, one question haunted me every night. Why? Why would the man who built everything with me destroy my life so completely? I didn't get my answer until 3 days after my release. Because that's when I found the letter hidden inside my prison belongings. No return address, just 4 words written across the front. Daniel lied about everything, and underneath it, a flash drive. That was the moment I realized my story wasn't over yet. In fact, it was only beginning. I spent the first week after my release sleeping in a cheap motel outside the city. Not because I wanted to, because I had nowhere else to go. My apartment was gone. My savings were erased by legal fees. My reputation had been buried long before I stepped out of prison. Everywhere I looked, Daniel's face followed me. Business magazines called him a visionary entrepreneur. Podcasts praised his leadership. He had expanded our company into a luxury. Empire worth millions, my company, my life. Stolen piece by piece while I sat inside a prison cell. But none of that hurt as much as opening the flash drive. I borrowed an old laptop from the motel manager and sat there for hours staring at folders full of documents, recordings, and financial records. At first, I couldn't breathe. Then I couldn't stop shaking, because finally, I saw the truth. Daniel had been laundering money through our company for years. The fake signatures on the documents had been professionally copied from old contracts I signed early in the business. But that wasn't even his darkest secret. There were recordings, private recordings. One audio file changed everything. I clicked play and heard Daniel's voice. Instantly. Calm. Cold. Almost. Proud. "She'll take the fall," he said. "Sophia trusts too easily." "Always has." Another man laughed in the background. Then Daniel continued. "By the time she realizes what happened, I'll already own everything." I burst into tears right there in that motel room. Not because I was surprised anymore, but because hearing it out loud destroyed the last piece of love I still Carried for him, for years in prison. Part of me had hoped there had been some misunderstanding, some pressure, some hidden reason, but no. He planned it, carefully, patiently, like my life was nothing more than a business deal to him. The files came from someone named Marcus Hale, Daniel's former accountant. Attached was a final message. I'm dying. I couldn't leave this world carrying his secrets. Marcus had terminal cancer, and before dying, he decided to tell the truth. At first, I wanted revenge immediately. I imagined storming into Daniel's office, screaming in his face, exposing him publicly. But prison had taught me something important. Emotion without strategy destroys you. So instead, I stayed quiet. I started researching Daniel's current business, quietly contacting old employees, following financial trails Marcus left behind. And the deeper I looked, the darker things became. Daniel wasn't just laundering money anymore. He was blackmailing investors, destroying smaller companies through illegal deals, threatening employees who questioned him. The man I once trusted had become someone I barely recognized. But what truly shattered me was discovering he had visited my mother before she died. A nurse from her care home remembered him clearly. "Told your mother you were guilty," she said gently. She cried after he left. That night, I broke down harder than I ever had in prison. Because Daniel hadn't just stolen my freedom, he stole my mother's peace before she died. That pain changed something inside me forever. I stopped wanting revenge. I wanted truth, and for the first time in 9 years, I stopped feeling afraid of him. Instead, I think Daniel should have been afraid of me. Because while he spent 9 years building an empire on lies, he forgot one thing. I helped build it too. I knew every weakness hidden beneath his perfect image, and I was finally ready to expose all of it. Daniel's downfall began on a Tuesday morning, quietly, no screaming, no dramatic confrontation, just truth finally reaching the right people. Using Marcus's files, I sent anonymous evidence packages to federal investigators, financial journalists, and several of Daniel's biggest investors. Then I waited. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. And honestly, part of me feared he would escape again until the headlines appeared. Luxury CEO under investigation for fraud. Then another. Former employees speak out against Daniel Brooks. And suddenly, the empire he built started collapsing faster than I imagined. Investors pulled out. Board members resigned. Employees leaked more information. Reporters surrounded his office building day and night. For the first time in years, Daniel looked afraid. But what I didn't expect was his call. I answered late one evening while sitting alone in my motel room. His voice sounded smaller somehow. "Sophia, please let me explain." "Explain? 9 years stolen from my life, my parents dying without me, my future destroyed, and now he wanted to explain." "You framed me," I whispered. There was silence. Then finally, he said the words I waited nearly a decade to hear. I never thought it would go this far. I laughed through tears, because evil rarely thinks about consequences until they arrive at the front door. A month later, Daniel was arrested. This time, there were no fake signatures to protect him, no innocent woman left to sacrifice, just evidence, not truth, and the weight of every choice he made. I watched the news coverage. From a tiny apartment I had finally managed to rent. When reporters pushed microphones toward him outside the courthouse, he lowered his head and said nothing. The same silence he gave me the day my life was destroyed. Only now. It belonged to him. People often ask me if revenge healed me. The answer is complicated. Justice gave me closure. But healing came. Later, slowly, quietly, in moments I never expected, like planting flowers on my mother's grave, or drinking coffee in peace without prison walls around me, or finally looking in the mirror and seeing someone stronger instead of someone broken. Daniel stole 9 years from me, but he didn't steal my heart. He didn't steal my ability to survive, and he definitely didn't steal the truth. Forever. Because lies can build beautiful castles, but eventually every secret cracks from the inside. And when it finally does, the people who caused the damage are usually buried beneath the ruins they created themselves. As for me, I stopped chasing revenge the moment I realized something important. The greatest victory isn't watching someone fall. It's rebuilding your life after they tried to destroy it.